the princess who was ripped apart by an angry mob. We're about to unveil one of the most horrifying executions in history, a savage act carried out by a mob with their bare hands. This is the chilling story of Princess de Lamballe, Marie Antoinette's closest friend, and the unspeakable brutality she endured on September 3rd, 1792. It's a tale of insane loyalty, absolute terror, and how rapidly a human being can be transformed into a symbol of hate, marked for destruction. Before she became public enemy number one, Marie-Thérèse Louise de Savoie-Carignan, Princess de Lamballe, led a life of unimaginable privilege. Born in Italy in 1749 into an immensely wealthy family, she married the Prince de Lamballe at 17, inheriting one of France's largest fortunes, when he tragically died within a year, leaving her a widow at just 18. This personal tragedy led her directly to the French court at Versailles, where she met another young foreign woman, Marie Antoinette. Their friendship was instant and legendary. In a palace rife with insincerity, their bond was undeniably genuine. When Marie Antoinette became queen, she bestowed upon Lamballe the prestigious and demanding role of superintendent of her household. This wasn't merely a job. Lamballe became family. Yet that unwavering loyalty came at a terrifying price. As public resentment towards Marie Antoinette swelled, her inner circle became targets. Vile, defamatory pamphlets circulated, accusing the Queen's friends of every conceivable vice. Lamballe's close bond with the Queen was twisted into scandalous rumours of secret love affairs, further inflaming public fury. The quiet, loyal friend was grotesquely transformed into a supervillain, dubbed a corrupting influence, an Austrian spy, and an enemy of France. A giant target was painted on her back, and the situation was about to become infinitely worse. When the Bastille prison was stormed in 1789, the world turned upside down. The monarchy began to crumble, and aristocrats fled France in a desperate scramble for safety. Princess de Lamballe herself was secure in London. Friends and family pleaded with her, "Stay here, do not go back." But her devotion to Marie Antoinette was absolute. The Queen was in peril, and Lamballe believed her place was firmly by her side. Marie Antoinette explicitly asked her to return, writing, "I must live and die with her." So Lamballe, fully aware she was likely heading to her death, literally wrote her will and travelled back to Paris, walking directly back into the fire. She was there when the royal family's desperate escape attempt failed miserably. She was there on June 20th, 1792, when a mob stormed the Tuileries Palace. An eyewitness recounted that throughout the entire terrifying attack, Lamballe appeared concerned only for the Queen's safety, not her own. That unshakable loyalty would cost her everything. On August 10th, 1792, the monarchy was decisively overthrown. The royal family was imprisoned in the Temple fortress, and Lamballe was brutally separated from the Queen, thrown into La Force prison, one of the darkest, filthiest, and most terrifying places imaginable. By late August 1792, Paris was gripped by utter panic. An enemy army was marching towards the city, threatening to burn it to the ground if the royal family was harmed. This threat backfired horribly. Instead of instilling fear, it ignited a monstrous rage among the revolutionaries. They became convinced that spies and traitors were hiding within the city's prisons, poised to break out and attack them from within. The revolutionary leader, Georges Danton, screamed, "To conquer them, we must dare, dare again, always dare, and France is saved." That daring turned into a monstrous frenzy. On September 2nd, the killing began. For 5 horrific days, mobs swarmed the prisons, unleashing one of the largest killing sprees in history, now known as the September Massacres. They dragged men and women from their cells, subjected them to perfunctory 10-second mock trials, and then hacked them to pieces in the prison courtyards. The streets literally ran red with blood. And Princess de Lamballe, she was trapped in the midst of it all, listening to the screams from outside. She wasn't just any prisoner. She was the ultimate prize. She represented everything the mob hated. It was only a matter of time before they came for her. On the morning of September 3rd, they came. 2 guards entered her cell, the killings having raged all night. Now it was her turn to face the so-called tribunal. This was no court. It was a grotesque parody. A few men seated at a table stained with blood and wine, deciding lives in mere seconds. When Lamballe walked in, she nearly fainted at the sight of piles of dead bodies in the courtyard. They questioned her, and she remained remarkably calm. Then came the final brutal test. They ordered her, swear to liberty and equality, and hatred to the king and the queen. This was her last chance to live, and she refused. She told them, "I will readily swear to the first, but I cannot swear to the second. It is not in my heart." A man beside her whispered urgently, "Swear! If you do not swear, you are dead." But she refused to betray her friend. Another account claims she simply stated, "Whether I die sooner or later is a matter of indifference to me. I have made the sacrifice of my life." The verdict was instantaneous. The judge announced, "Let Madame be set at liberty." It sounded like freedom, but it was a secret code, a chilling signal for the mob waiting outside. It meant, "This one is yours." She was shoved through the door, directly into the arms of her killers. The second she was pushed into the courtyard, it became absolute carnage. The ground was a slaughterhouse, littered with bodies. A mob, faces contorted with rage, closed in on her. This is where the story often veers into grotesque rumour, but the verified history is horrifying enough. What we know for certain is this: the mob murdered her. Eyewitnesses described a delicate lady dressed in red, standing alone for a split second. Then the first blow, likely from a pike or hammer, struck her in the back of the head. Her cap fell off, and her long brown hair tumbled down. A second blow hit her forehead. She crumpled to the ground. What followed was a complete frenzy. The mob swarmed her, stabbing and beating her to death with pikes and sabres. It was brutal, chaotic, and mercifully swift. But they weren't finished. They decapitated her, the ultimate act of degradation. They then stripped her body completely naked and left it in the street. Her remains were never officially found. These are the cold, undisputed facts. She was beaten to death and decapitated because she would not betray her friend. The truth is horrifying. But what the mob did next, and the myths that stemmed from it, are somehow even more grotesque. The murder wasn't enough. The mob wielded her as a weapon. They impaled her severed head on a pike and began a ghastly parade through the streets of Paris. Their destination, the Temple prison. Their cruel objective to force Marie Antoinette to witness what they had done to her dearest friend. This was pure psychological warfare. When the mob reached the temple, they gathered under the window, shouting for the queen to come out and behold the head. Some rumors even claimed they wanted her to kiss the lips of her dead friend. Inside, the royal family heard the terrifying din. The king's valet saw the head and knew instantly what it was. As Marie Antoinette desperately asked what was happening, guards rushed to block the window. We don't know for certain if she actually saw the head, but we do know a guard told her bluntly, "They are trying to show you the head of the Princess de Lamballe." Just hearing those words was enough to break her. Marie Antoinette let out a scream and collapsed in a dead faint. She reportedly wept all night. The mob had achieved its goal. They had inflicted a deep psychological wound. They murdered her friend as a stand-in, a proxy, to torture the woman they truly hated. That horrific image of her friend's head on a pike would haunt Marie Antoinette for the rest of her life. The killing wasn't a state execution, it was a lynching, a ritualistic murder by a mob that saw her as a powerful symbol, not a person. Her death remains one of the most infamous moments of the entire French Revolution. Princess de Lamballe was a woman whose only crime was unyielding loyalty. She chose to return to a city on fire to stand by her friend. For that, she would pay dearly with her life.